Welcome. In this video we have promised that we will bring some numericals of different types and questions of different types from different types of competitive exams, and that may come or have come in different competitive exams just like AIT, JEE, JEE NEET, but along with that we have to clear also our basics. So let us see the first question. Can there be a motion in two dimensions with an acceleration acting along one direction? Since we are discussing with the projectile motion, don't generalize it. The answer is a projectile motion at first. At first understood that what is meant by the word, that is the motion in two dimensions. Just like if I say if it is the x-axis, if it is the y-axis, then if any particle is moves on the xy plane, that is if any particle moves on a plane, then it is a two-dimensional motion. But now our consideration is that can there be a motion in two dimension with an acceleration acting along one direction, that is two-dimensional motion. The motion can be analyzed into two dimension, and in one dimension the acceleration is appeared, in another dimension is completely independent of the acceleration. In case of projectile motions, we have seen that if it is the x-axis and if it is the y-axis, if the particle is projected with a initial velocity u by making a certain angle with the horizontal, then it will reach here. And due to this analyzation, so when I am going to analyze this, at that time I have told that the velocity along u sin theta along the y-axis, u sin theta is under the actions of the acceleration due to gravity, which is constant throughout the motion, and it is along the negative z-axis. But there is also a motion that is along the x-axis. Both of these motions are accompanied and gives this type of trajectory here. So here it is uy and here it is ux. So uy is affected by the minus g, or you can say the at first it is retarded, then it is accelerated. So here that's why the motion answer is the projectile motion. Now the question is that why we cannot consider the motion as a circular motion? Because in case of circular motion, if I take this thing as the origin, and if I consider this is along the x-axis and this is along the y-axis, and let us take a point x comma y on this axis. If a particle executes this type of circular motions like this, then x means x is here and y is here, but the acceleration is always acting towards the center. So what conditions I have told here, that is acceleration is acting only along the one dimension, it is not true here. So that's why the circular motion is not my answer, and the projectile motion is the answer. Next question. A body falls freely from a carriage of a train. Will the time of fall will be same if the train is stationary, moving with constant velocity and moving with constant acceleration? Now I want to remind you one idea, that is reference frame. And reference points that I have told in the case of rectilinear motion, the first lecture of rectilinear motion series, I have told about this. And here I want to tell you the velocity of the reference frame is the velocity of the body here. Okay, so the velocity of the reference frame, we can say this is the velocity of the reference frame is equal to the velocity of the body if the body is kept within that frame. Here A body falls from a carriage of a train. So train is our reference frame here. Okay, so if I consider this is a train, significantly but symbolically, if I consider it is a train, okay, and it is at first it is said it is stationary, so I write down this thing as stationary, that is it is at rest. So if a particle is here, if a body is here, what is the velocity of it? The velocity of it is obviously this is u equal to 0. Now the question is, if it is just fall from it, what will be the initial velocity of it? The initial velocity is equal to that of the velocity of the train, and that is 0. So if it falls from it, its initial velocity is 0, and if I say it after falling from it, it reaches the ground here. When it reaches the ground, if it is at a height h from here, let us consider, then h equal to 1 by 2 gt square, because the initial velocity is 0 here. So the height and t is related by this equation. Next is said it is moving with constant velocity. So now the train that I have considered as a reference frame, now it is moving with constant velocity. Let us consider velocity is u, and we consider that the train is moving in that particular direction. Now if the body is in it, then it also have the same velocity as that of the train. So if it is fall from here, now the body also have a horizontal velocity u. Now it is fall from here, its horizontal velocity is u. Now it is not fall like this and reach the ground. If it is at a height h from here, it is not fall like this, but it starts moving like this way and falls somewhere here. Okay, so if I analyze this, particle is falling. If I analyze at any point, the particle is falling downward, and u is the velocity, which is the constant here, and acting along this horizontal direction, but the body is coming downward due to the gravitational pull, and the acceleration due to gravity is downward direction. Okay, acceleration due to gravity is in a downward direction. So the body is coming downward. If we can write down minus h equal to the initial velocity along the vertical direction is 0. If I say what is initial velocity along these directions, along the horizontal direction, if I want to write along the horizontal direction, that is the x direction, the velocity is u. Along the vertical directions, that is along these directions that I have considered as the y-axis, and it is at the x-axis in the previous questions. So along the y-axis the velocity is 0. Okay, so if I want to analyze the motion, along the negative y-axis, then it will be minus of h. That's why I am writing here minus of h 0 into t plus of minus of g into 1 by 2 into t square. This is the equation. So it is falling due to this equation for the vertical. This is for the vertical, but along the horizontal it also have a velocity. That's why due to the composite of these two, the particle is moving along these directions. If I want to find out the velocity, what is the velocity here and what is the velocity when it strikes at this point, if I want to find what is the velocity, let us the time taken by the particle to reach from here to here is capital T. Okay, so what will be the velocity of the particle? That is the uy, is the initial velocity, is equal to vy gt minus of gt. Since the particle is moving in a negative y direction, here should be a negative. So what is the value of Vy? What is the value of this Vy? That is the velocity along the y direction. That is should be equal to gt. G into capital T, since the after capital T time it reaches here. So this is the thing. So obviously the motions here is not the same thing as that of it. But if the particle is moving within constant acceleration, if the particle is moving with the constant acceleration, because the train that I have considered here, that is moving under constant acceleration. If it is moving under constant acceleration, and if it starts from rest, that is say, if this train starts from rest, after some time it have a velocity. So at any time the velocity is governed by the equation v equal to u plus at along this x direction. But if the particle is falling from here, it have this horizontal velocity, but due to the gravitational pull the particle starts falling. So due to both of these two, particles have a resultant motion in this direction, so it will follow this. Okay, and now here if I want to say what is the velocity along the x direction, the velocity along the x direction is not a constant. Okay, it is now a function of time. Now the velocity along the x direction is a function of time, and you can say it is the u plus at. Okay, so it is continuously increasing as the time passes, as the time goes on. The velocity of along the x direction is continuously increasing, but there is no change in the velocity because it is under constant acceleration. Just like this, there is no change in the y component with this and this. These y components, there will be no variation, but in x component there is a variation. So in this case the particle just falls down. In this case the particle have a definite and constant range since u is a constant, but here with time the particle's range is function of time, and its range is greater than that of the case 1 and case 2. The range 3, in case of 3 the range is greater than that of the 1 and 2. Next question is, does the time of descent for a horizontal projectile depends on the velocity of projection? At first, in case of a horizontal projectile is this thing, that is a particle is thrown from a certain height, capital H, with a constant velocity, and this thing is called the horizontal projectile. So in case of a horizontal projectile, the time of descent, that is the time of falling to the ground, it depends on the velocity of projection. Just listen, why the particle is falling. The particle is falling because when the particle is released with this velocity u, at that time the gravitational force acts on this direction, and particle is also under the actions of the gravity, that is minus of g j cap. If I consider this is along the x-axis and this is along the negative y-axis, then always at each and every point of it the acceleration due to gravity acts on it in the downward direction. Okay, so when the particle reach on the ground, it is determined by this velocity along this y direction. And what is the velocity along this y direction? If I want to find out, that is when it reach here, and when it reach here means if I want to calculate the time of it, if I want to calculate the velocity of it, all of these things are governed by the acceleration due to gravity. This capital U is perpendicular to that of the this acceleration due to gravity. That's why it is remain unaffected throughout the motion. Since it is remain unaffected throughout the motion, so there is no change in the value of u along the x component. But if I want to calculate time of descent, see here it is 0, it moves to minus h along the negative y direction, so it is minus h. What is the initial velocity of it when it is just starts moving along the y-axis? It is 0, because the velocity along the x-axis u and we know that the component of the velocity in its perpendicular direction, the component of the u along the perpendicular directions y is 0. So therefore the uy, we can say uy, that is 0. Okay, uy is 0. T plus of minus of g 1 by 2 into minus of g, because acceleration is minus g along the negative direction. After that, say t square. Say after time t the particle reach here, so it is a minus of capital H equal to 0 here, and it is 1 by 2 into minus of g into t square. So from here, if I calculate this thing, then t equal to root over of 2h divided by g. T equal to root over of 2h divided by g. So after time capital T, it will reach here, and that is the time of descent. And that is the time of descent. If I want to calculate this time of descent in other ways, that is v, that is v y is the velocity along here. So v equal to this, and after that, that is minus of uy plus of minus of g into t. So if I calculate t from here, since uy is 0, that will be vy divided by g. There is also another equation of motion, that is vy square, this is minus of vy square equal to minus of uy square plus of 2 minus of g into h, minus of h. So from here, since uy equal to 0, so we can find out that vy is equal to root over of 2gh. So from it, if we understood that the time of descent, that is the small t, that is calculated here. If I put the vy here also it comes root over 2h by g. Is it dependent on the velocity of projection? Just see, in the time of descent there is no value of u. The u is not here because u is moving along the x direction. Okay, so the time of descent is independent of the velocity of projection in case of horizontal projectile. Not only that, the time of descent is only and only dependent on the vertical component. In any case of projectile motion, the time of descent is dependent on the vertical component. It is independent of the horizontal component. The next question is, a projectile is launched with an initial velocity vo vector equal to vox I cap plus voy j cap. So if I draw this diagram, if I want to draw the motion in the xy plane, then the velocity vector, that is the vo vector, okay, so it has two components. One is along vox and another is along voy. Basically this thing tells this, it has two components, one is along y axis and another is along the x axis. What is the velocity of projection at the highest point? When the particle reaches the highest point, that is here, at that time what is the velocity? That is the question. Why the particle reaches the highest point? The particle reaches the highest point due to Vy. As the particle moves upward, the value of Vy, that is the initial velocity along the vertical axis, is decreases due to the acceleration due to gravity. And when it becomes 0, at that time it reaches the maximum height. If I draw it separately, that is Voy, that's why the particle is moving upward. Okay, and at that time the acceleration minus g is acting downwards. It is moving along the positive y direction, acceleration is the negative y direction, so we have the velocity continuously decreasing with time. So when the particle reaches the maximum height, that is here, at that time the velocity is 0 and the velocity decrease due to minus g. Okay, so when it reaches the maximum height, the we can say the value of Vy, that is the y component of velocity, is 0. But Vox, that is the x component of velocity, Vox, that is the x component of velocity, and the minus g is acting along the negative y direction, it is along the x directions. The angle between them is 90 degree. So neither Vox or nor minus g affect each other. They do not affect each other. Okay, that's why Vox is completely independent of that of the acceleration due to gravity. So Vox remain invariant throughout the motion. At the highest point, Vox will remain unchanged, but Voy is 0. That's why if I want to write down the velocity vector here, then we can say it is Vox I cap plus 0 j cap. There is no y component of velocity. So this is the velocity when the particle is at the highest point. Next question is, does the maximum height of the projectile depend on Vox or Voy? Obviously it is depending on Voy, because when the Vox basically deals with a horizontal motion, that is the shifting the particle along the x-axis. It does not depends on how the particle moves up. The vertical motion is independent of the Vox. Okay, so does the maximum height of the project depend on Vox? No, it is not dependent on Vox, but it is dependent on Voy that we have just seen. And if I want to calculate what is the maximum height, it is the initial velocity, it is the final velocity. So Voy, okay, square 0 square, final velocity square, initial velocity square, plus 2 of minus g into capital H, and this gives us capital H, that is the maximum height, that is it is Voy square divided by 2g. So it is dependent on the Voy, so it is the right option. Thus the range of the projectile depend on Vox or Voy. Range means it is talking about the x distance, that is the distance covered along the x-axis. So the distance covered on the x-axis is completely dependent on Vox and independent of Voy. Okay, so if I want to calculate the range is Vox and capital T, and capital T is the total time of flight, is the time taken by the particle to reach from the origin, starting from the origin, after that the maximum height, and reached here. So this is the range. So range equal to Vox into T. Okay, so what is Vox? If I put the value of Vox, then just see Vox equal to 2 into Voy divided by g. Okay, 2 into Voy divided by g. So it is dependent on Vox and Voy both. Range of the particle is dependent on Vox and Voy both, but the time, capital T, time of the projectile dependent on the Voy. The height of the projectile dependent on the Voy, that is the y component. Range of the projectile dependent on the x component and the y component of the initial velocity. It is dependent on both of it. Can a body moved on a curved path without acceleration? If a body is moving along this uniform motion, then we can say it is a velocity, and obviously this is the path followed by it. But here it is talking about the curved path, so I just consider it is a curved path. At each and every point on this curved path, we have to draw a tangent to find out the velocity at this point. So if I want to find out what is the velocity at this point, you have to draw a tangent. Let us it is the point P, and the velocity at this point is Vp. Let us it is the point Q, and the velocity at this point is Vq. This is the velocity to point P and velocity to point Q. Maybe the magnitude of the Vp and the magnitude of Vq is same, but the direction is changing. Okay, acceleration is defined as the change in velocity divided by time. Since velocity is a vector quantity, so it may change due to its value or magnitude, it may change due to its direction. So here the direction is changed due to the change in direction. Due to the change in direction, the velocity is changed. If I say from here to here the time taken by the particle to reach from P to Q is del t, then the acceleration can be written as final velocity minus initial velocity divided by del t. So the body move on a curved path without any acceleration. It is not possible. When a particle moves on a curved path, its velocity changes at each and every bit of time. So since the velocity changes each and every bit of time, so there is a acceleration also. This acceleration may be constant, it may be dependent on time or whatever be it, but there is acceleration because the velocity changes. How does the knowledge of a projectile help a player in the baseball game? You know that in the baseball game, one is the thrower who just throws the ball, and here is the batsman, okay, who just holding the bat, okay. So what is the point of view of the thrower? He try to reach that ball, he try to reach this ball to this batsman. It is the thrower, and here is a man holding this bat, okay. So it is for the thrower, it is his primary importance that so that he can reach this ball towards this batsman very fast, okay. So when he throwing this thing, also there is a effect of gravity also. So to neglect, so if he throw this thing horizontally, okay, he throw it here, it have to reach here, but due to effect of gravity it comes down, so he cannot reach the target. So he have to throw this ball by making an angle with the horizontal. So if he throws the ball like this way, then it can reach the batsman at the same height or same level at the point where this thrower desired to throw, okay. So he can take the idea of the projectile motion. Not only that, it is of your primary importance as it can reach the ball to this batsman or to the hitter at the particular time within a small interval of time. So just think about, from the Galileo's experiment it is observed that if the range is constant, okay, because the distance between the thrower and the batsman is not changed, if the range is constant, so if you throw the ball at an angle theta, it will reach here. If you throw the ball at an angle 90 degree minus theta, it will also reach here. The range is same. We have seen this thing. For the complementary angles, the range is remaining the same. So since the range is remaining the same, so if he throw this first at 30 degree, then he throws it at 60 degree, in both of the cases it can reach the hitter, okay. But when this throws at an angle theta, say the time taken by the ball to reach here, that is t1, but when he throws at an angle 90 degree minus theta, the time taken obviously greater than that of it. So if we want to increase the speed, so since the range is constant, so you can say obviously he will choose r by t1 if he want to throw it within a shortest time interval. If he wants that within a minimum time it can reach the hitter, so he will choose r divided by t1, but not r by t2, because it takes more time and the hitter then gets the time to reach the ball, trace the ball, and he can hit it. This way, in the baseball game, the thrower and the hitter estimate about this thing and starting the play, continuing the play. So that is your inbuilt. They are habituated to doing this. I don't know they are knowing the theory of projectile motion is not, but they are doing it by the practice. They're habituated to doing this. Thank you.